Big deal. That's always went with the territory. I'll see you in Disneyland.
My defense, because I am such a part of it. I mean, I obviously I'm going to bear the consequences, so why not bear the responsibility?
Okay, sir, is she still alive?
Are you alive?
Well, last time we saw her.
Mama? I killed Dean.
Brian?
Ma'am?
What are you doing?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back for another week.
Welcome back. Happy to see everybody. We're back at it.
This is a week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so we thought we would bring you guys a nice, wonderful Thanksgiving Day tale.
The family gets together.
Warm and fuzzy story.
Yeah, and, there's nothing but lots of love and murder.
That's right.
So
of course.
This is actually a super sad story. It actually didn't happen on Thanksgiving. It happened a couple days after Thanksgiving, but I know, like a lot of you, my family, there's a lot of members in the family, and sometimes you have to split where you're going. You can't visit everybody on Thanksgiving, so you have the postponed or the late Thanksgiving.
The early or the late.
Yeah, the early Thanksgiving, the late Thanksgiving. Yeah. So this one's one where it happened a couple days after Thanksgiving. But it's a very, very sad tale. So it's about the Privacky family. So I'm going to go ahead and get started.
And shockingly, I had to ask Shannon how to say that. Because I was like, Privacky? Like, normally it's the other way around, but I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to say that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Privacky. That's how I heard it being pronounced. So,
okay.
Yeah. So on the cold evening of November 29, 1998, just after Thanksgiving, police would uncover a scene of unimaginable horror. A holiday gathering had turned into a family massacre. 5 people were dead, all from gunshot wounds. The question that shocked everyone wasn't just who could do this, but why. By all accounts, the Privackys of Muskegon, Michigan seemed like a typical, respectable family. Stephen Privacky, 50, was a well-liked 5th grade teacher. His colleagues described him as an exceptional teacher dedicated to his students. He would stay late to prepare lessons and tutor students. His wife, Linda, 49, was a medical receptionist at Muskegon Medical Associates and had a perfect attendance at her work for the past 3 years. Stephen's widowed father, 78-year-old John Privacky, also lived nearby. Stephen and Linda had 2 sons, 19-year-old Jedediah, who was studying to become a teacher at Muskegon Community College, and 18-year-old Seth, a senior at Reith's Puffer High School. Jed was described by his professors as earnest and dedicated. He would stay after class to discuss teaching methods. Classmates described Seth as quiet and soft-spoken, and in 1996, court records showed he was a B average student. However, 2 years before the massacre, Seth's grade point average went from a 3.2 to 1.8, and his attendance declined by 40%. In 1997, he was convicted of stealing beer from his job and selling it to minors at school. The probation officer's report stated that Seth was compliant but emotionally distant during mandatory check-ins. However, just months after completing his probation, he was arrested again for shoplifting. The judge ordered a psychiatric evaluation, and Dr. Marcus Webb's report submitted to the court in January 1998 diagnosed Seth with major depressive disorder and prescribed Wellbutrin 150 milligrams daily. I'm going to ask our resident prescription doctor, a pharmacist, our resident our resident prescription, our resident pharmacist assistant over here, Gina. Is Wellbutrin 150 milligrams? Is that a lot?
No.
Or is that no? So he was just regularly diagnosed. Okay.
I mean, yeah, Wellbutrin is like a pretty commonly used
it sounded familiar.
drug, but what was it that he was diagnosed with? Say again?
Major depressive disorder.
I wonder if that's different than just regular depression, because I know there's different like
maybe it's a different level.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
If that's like has more, like if he had more things going on. Clearly, we're gonna find out that he did. And I don't think that Wellbutrin was the answer.
Yeah, he needed something stronger.
Yeah.
So the evaluation noted persistent feelings of hopelessness and difficulty managing anger. However, it never stated any indication of violence towards others. In a court questionnaire, his own mother had called him obedient. But behind closed doors, things were far from perfect. A family friend later told police that Seth's father believed his son didn't have a conscience, and his mother said he was out of control. Arguments between Seth and his father were reportedly getting worse. Recently, Seth's car had been taken away after he got a C on his report card, which supposedly enraged him. The conflict finally boiled over on the day of the murders when his father, Stephen, told him it was time to move out of the house. That ultimatum, fueled by months of simmering anger, was about to trigger an act of shocking violence. On Sunday, November 22nd, 1 week before the murders, Seth's dad told him that he had until the end of the month to find another place to live.
Is a C really that bad where you got to kick your kid out?
No, I don't think it was that. I think it was all the things.
I've been on the streets.
He was going. He was
ago.
kind of going in and out of probation for stealing things. Remember, he
I know,
selling stuff to minors and stuff. But yeah, and I think he had an anger issue, so maybe there was a lot of heated battles. But yeah.
I don't know. I'm very much against just kicking your kids out.
I said that it takes
when they have a problem.
Yeah,
if they're not pulling their weight and they're capable of holding a job and they don't participate, they don't add anything, like, okay, then for sure. But if he was diagnosed with something. Something like
was
he's
more,
got some issues.
Yeah. But in Sunday, November 22nd, you're really not giving him much time to find a place. That's 8 days.
Yeah,
that's not even that's a little over a week to find another place to live.
And if he's already stealing things and now he has to go out and find somewhere to live, you don't think that's gonna just make him want to steal more, like maybe rob a bank?
Yeah.
Like, how's he gonna get money?
How's he gonna fund this?
Yeah.
But it said his dad was done with the stealing and lying. So on Saturday, November 28th, Seth went over to his best friend's house, Stephen Wallace. So it's another Stephen. It's spelled differently, but this is another Stephen. So I'm going to refer to Seth's dad as Stephen. I'm going to refer to his best friend as Wallace so that we can keep the two clear. So he went over to his best friend's house, Wallace. He arrived around 2 p.m. and they played Grand Theft Auto for 2 hours. According to Wallace, Seth was normal, just a little quieter than usual.
Okay, if he has a stealing problem, why is he playing Grand Theft Auto?
You know what? That's how he, satisfies that urge. He goes in, he plays the game, he steals a bunch of things, steals a few cars, races around town, goes home, and he's got it out of his system. So Wallace's mom also said that she didn't notice anything unusual. Seth was polite and thanked her for the snacks she brought them. At 4:30 p.m., Seth stopped the game and made an announcement that tomorrow he would kill his entire family.
Okay, stop right there. I feel like I don't know. In the headspace that he was in, how would you feel? Like if you knew, now I don't know how much his friend knew, but
yeah,
if you knew or had an inkling of a thought that maybe I was suffering from something, and
if I was a friend, I should be paying attention,
and I just said, like, I'm gonna go off my family,
yeah,
like, as nonchalant as it sounds, I don't know like what the conversation was, I don't know how it came up, but it sounds like it was just like,
yeah,
I'm going to off my family. Like I was just going to go home and do some laundry.
Yeah. He said it very nonchalant, like just, tomorrow I'm going to kill my entire family.
I mean, wouldn't you maybe, but again, you got to remember that they're young too.
They are young. And when he turned around and told him this, it does say Wallace thought Seth was joking or just venting about his dad. Later on, you find out that he just said, like, I would never call the cops on my friend. Like
regardless if he
thought it was true or not,
he wasn't gonna.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna call the cops on my friend.
Yeah.
So So
we have a little visitor right here. If for all of you guys watching on YouTube,
you can see the toe.
Yeah, he's gonna eat some
the
popcorn back here.
Excuse me, you don't even like popcorn. What is happening here? Come on.
I'm sure for all you people that watch on YouTube, you've probably seen Kovu. Kovu makes an appearance.
Almost every.
And
at
it
least
looks, if you look in the camera, it kind of looks like Kovu's head is this doll right here.
Yeah, it does. He's just a little curious.
Yeah. So this is our
resident.
This is our man behind all the cameras and behind all the lights.
He sets it all up, so we let him do what he wants.
Yeah.
He's very tech savvy.
Okay.
Thank you. Everything's all right? Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
He's just checking it out.
He's moving on.
However, Seth laid out the plan in detail. He would wait until Sunday evening when his grandfather John would be visiting. He would use his father's .22 caliber Ruger pistol that was kept in a locked bedroom closet that Seth knew the combination to. He would shoot them one by one and stage it like a robbery. Wallace didn't think to call the cops or warn the family because he thought that Seth was joking. Sunday, November 29, 1998, was supposed to be a day for the Privacky family's delayed Thanksgiving celebration, but 18-year-old Seth had other plans. At 12:30 p.m., Seth goes upstairs to his father's closet, grabs his dad's .22 caliber pistol, inserts the clip, and goes downstairs, hiding the pistol behind his back. And the reason why Seth knew the combination to the closet with this pistol is because the dad shared it with them a few years before. So the dad hadn't obviously doesn't change the combination frequently like you're supposed to, or at least often,
But that also goes to show you, like, maybe he trusted him.
Yeah. And a little bit in denial, or, Seth was a straight A student up until a couple years prior. So he shared this with Seth before all this started happening. So he shared the combination with them because just in case an intruder came in or Seth needed to use it and the dad wasn't home, he was able to get to it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So this is why I'm very against guns in the home. So
we disagree on that.
Yeah.
On that topic.
Me, you always hear stories about how, the percentage of shootings are done by people who live in the home or the family, or accidental shootings.
And I'm here to tell you that, like, I'm not playing when I say she's afraid of guns.
I'm terrified.
We had an instance where I had to go pick up guns from a relative, and she was just...
I don't like them.
Did not want to be around it. Didn't want to touch it. Nothing.
Nothing. No, I'm terrified of it. There's a reason, and it's not like I had trauma in my past. It's nothing too serious. It's just that growing up, I would have this reoccurring dream that I was getting shot and killed, and it was by someone I knew. And
that'll do it.
I never saw the person's face, but it was those reoccurring dreams, and I'd be in a corner, and I just had the feeling that I knew this person, and I was shot and killed by them. So I always thought, like, is that how I'm going to die, or did I die like that in a past life? So
yeah. My dad always had guns in the house. I was always from like a very young age. And I think that he exposed me to that, so I wasn't curious. So I didn't.
You didn't
like when my friends came over, like, go check this out.
Yeah.
Like I always knew how to load it, how to unload it from the time I was probably 6 or 7 years old, like very young. But I was never curious either.
Yeah, and I have to say,
I never had that curiosity.
My son's very smart with that too. Like he's learned that. My husband's very smart. My aunt does those, pull, shoot too,
But I think, if I had young kids in my house, that would be, a different story too.
So, yeah, I mean, I see people who are responsible who aren't, but I just, you hear stories like this and it's like, yeah, so after his father, Stephen, left the house around 12:45 p.m. to pick up his grandfather, John, Seth then goes downstairs where his brother Jed was watching TV. Seth walked up behind him and shot him once in his right temple, killing him instantly. The trajectory and gunpowder residue showed that Seth stood less than 3 feet away. He then dragged his body into the basement.
That's like as far as you and I are sitting apart.
Yeah, and it's less than.
Yeah.
So he just I don't think his brother knew what was coming. He just walked up behind him and shot him in the back on his right temple. A short time later, Stephen and John returned home. As they walked into the garage, Seth ambushed them, shooting both men in the back of the head. A detective later noted he shot his grandfather twice just to be sure he was dead, because they figured like maybe the grandfather didn't die from the first gunshot, so he had to do it again a second time. All of this happened while his mother, Linda, was in the shower, completely unaware of the horror unfolding in her own home. Seth then walks upstairs. He enters the bathroom and shoots her in the back of the head. The killing spree could have ended there, but Jed's long-term girlfriend, 19-year-old April Boss, was on her way over for that family dinner. When she walked into the kitchen, she saw the bodies of the older men, and Seth confronted her. He shot her, claiming the fifth and final life. In just a short time, an 18-year-old had murdered his entire immediate family and his brother's girlfriend, all at point-blank range. You might think someone who just murdered 5 people would panic, but Seth didn't. Instead, he picked up the phone and called Wallace with a chilly voicemail message. It's done. Wallace went over to the Privacky home, and what followed was a clumsy, desperate attempt to cover up an unimaginable crime. So not only would Wallace not call the cop on his friend for stating that he's going to kill his entire family, he then proceeds to go over and help Seth.
That takes like, I don't even know. Obviously it happens, but I just can't imagine doing that to anybody, let alone my grandfather, my mother, like my father.
Like, you're angry at your dad for giving you that ultimatum, but you didn't just take it out on your dad. Like, that was something that you wanted to do. It didn't matter what triggered it. Eventually you would have found a reason to do it. I find that. Like,
no,
I don't
of course.
think, yeah.
I mean, I feel like this kind of goes to show the severity of his mental illness.
Yeah.
And maybe it went above and beyond depression. That's why I asked, like, is that diagnosis like different than just depression? Is that, and not, I don't mean just depression, because I know that is not anything fun to deal with, but I just think this is so extreme. And I just can't imagine, and I'm sure that I can't, the thoughts that were probably going on in his head, but to just think that the night before he's at his friend's house and like, oh, I'm going to do this, 12 hours later,
he just follows through with
done.
it like nothing. Yeah.
Because they say, you know, a lot of people that suffer from things like this, especially when it's self-inflicted, we can't say the word on YouTube, but when it's self-inflicted, people who talk about doing it are not the people that you need to be worried about. It's the people that don't talk about it.
Yeah. And he actually talked about it and laid out the plan to his friend before doing it.
Yeah.
So he thought about it, knew what he was going to do,
and
followed through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's why it's
terrifying.
just it very much is, because it really makes you worry about people that suffer from stuff like this, because you know, is this something that we could all come home to?
Yeah. What's going to make them snap? So,
yeah. So they wrapped the bodies in sheets and planned to bury them later. Wallace disposed of the gun and magazine in a pond 10 miles away. He then returned a movie to Blockbuster, went home, and attended a church youth group. Seth disposed of the shell casings in a gas station trash can and went to the grocery store to get duct tape. He then spent hours trying to clean up the blood. Wallace returned to Seth's house later that night, but the bodies turned out to be too heavy for either man to carry, and they decided to arrange them so that it would look like a robbery. And we've spoken about this multiple times, a lot in the Chris Watts case, about how heavy a dead body is.
yeah, I mean, these boys couldn't carry, and if you look at the pictures of the family, it's not like they were overweight and heavy, and they were regular sized.
Right here behind you.
Yeah, they were regular sized people, and for these boys not to be able together to carry them, for you to tell me in some of these cases that it was only one person
Exactly.
that picked up these bodies and threw them in the back of a truck, and you know, so it's sometimes hard to believe because
it puts it into perspective, you know, and you figure even they had to have had like all of this adrenaline at the same time going on. And sometimes they say, you know, all that adrenaline makes you stronger, but yet they still couldn't pull it off. Yeah. So again, going back to the Chris Watts case, you know, it really puts all that into perspective that these two young boys couldn't pick up a body.
No.
So they were taking several items from the house when around midnight, April's mother and stepfather, Julie and Tom Cooper, who had been looking for her, drove up to the house. Now, I can't even imagine.
Your daughter's not home. She went to her boyfriend's house for Thanksgiving dinner. So you're like, you know what?
And just doesn't.
She didn't go to work. She didn't come. She didn't go to work. She didn't go home. They're like, hey, where is she?
Go see what happened.
Yeah.
And this is what you walk into.
It's crazy.
So they saw a figure standing over a body on the driveway. Seth and Wallace saw the car pull up and fled into the woods. The parents ran inside, grabbed a phone, and called 911. Shortly after the police arrived, Wallace was apprehended by police using tracking dogs after being sighted running out of the woods near the crime scene. He admitted to what had happened and began cooperating with authorities. The police did not initially enter the home, fearing the killer was still inside. A manhunt for Seth began, and his school went on lockdown out of fear he would arrive. I mean, both of us work at schools, and let me tell you, going on lockdown,
it's scary if you don't know what's going on.
Absolutely terrifying.
Especially when you're hearing, like, even we've had it where, you know, there was a shooting at a park across the street and the school's on lockdown. You're like, where's the guy with the gun? Mm-hmm. You know, so it is a little nerve wracking.
I was just talking to one of my coworkers the other day about this. And at least in my experience, you don't know what's going on.
No,
you just know you're on lockdown and you can't get out and no one can get in. But you don't know, like, is it something in the neighborhood? Are these people on my campus? Are they outside my door? Like, you don't know. It's such a terrifying position to be in.
We had it where we have a park up against the school site that I work at, and there was a shooting at the park, but it was after hours. Thank God, none of the kids were there. But you know, there are employees working. And one of the employees hasn't returned since that happened because it's just so terrifying.
It is. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
No, it's a very scary situation to be in.
Yeah.
So he hid for nearly 13 hours, ultimately being found in a barn a mile away from his home on the property of his friend Jason Pitt. Genevieve Simonelli saw a young man hitchhiking in the rain. She offered him a ride, and as he got in the car, she felt a wave of terror. It was Seth Privacky. His face was now all over the news. In an incredible display of courage, Jana kept calm, pretending she had no idea who he was. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine.
Survival mode.
She dropped him off at Jason's house, but Jason isn't home. So Seth hides in a barn where he stated that he wanted to commit
self-infliction.
Yes. Jana tipped off the police. Seth surrendered without a fight and said nothing after his arrest, besides requesting a lawyer. Police found bloody clothing and a stolen television in a car belonging to his parents. With Wallace in custody and cooperating, investigators quickly pieced together the horrifying timeline of events. Wallace confessed that Seth had killed his family and that he had helped with the cleanup afterwards. The house was a gruesome scene. As one prosecutor put it, the house was scattered with bodies. There was blood everywhere. I mean, 5 people?
I'm picturing this town probably not very big because I've never heard of it before.
I haven't either.
And it's in Michigan. And these officers probably don't come across too many murders, and to have a whole family,
entire family, 5 people.
5 people killed right here under one roof, and walking into that.
It's got, definitely.
It's shocking.
It is. I mean, that changes in one instant like that. Your whole life is changed forever.
Oh yeah.
Forever. In custody, Seth's demeanor was described as flat and emotionless, with one officer saying it was as if nobody was home. So, like,
Just
lights are
blank.
off. He's just just
not responding.
Nothing.
Just nothing. He's just doesn't care. But the
But
parents,
that goes to show you
of,
what state he was in, you know?
But the dad did say he thinks his son's a psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably a better diagnosis than what he actually got from
Exactly.
his psychiatrist.
Yes. He quickly confessed to killing all 5 people. When they asked him why, his explanation was unsettlingly simple. He claimed his family had been ganging up on him. I mean,
I would have been off a long time ago.
I was gonna say
We do. We're
oh, my kids would have
yeah,
done me in a while ago.
I mean, our teasing sometimes,
Especially my daughter.
Yeah, our teasing sometimes relentless. It's just like that's just how you play around and stuff. So yeah.
But I guess again, when you're in this state of mind, everything is personal, and it's you have to really take into consideration that this kid was meant, and he was a kid.
Yeah, 18 years old.
Young.
Yeah, that's not very old.
He told investigators that he and his father had been arguing for months and that his mother and brother always took his father's side. He recalled the final argument that morning, stating, "My father told me he didn't love me anymore and that he wanted me to move out. But the evidence suggested this was no spontaneous act. Security footage showed Seth trying to buy .22 caliber bullets the night before the murders, though the store refused to sell him to them because he was underage. The methodical execution style nature of the killings also pointed to a calculated plan," which now we're at first-degree murder because we have premeditation. So "It was all a mistake. I wish I had never done it. I feel awful. I take it back 1,000 times." He also claimed that he had planned to take his own life after fleeing. Then during his arraignment, he said something truly bizarre. He asked the judge if he could get a break on his bond to see the world before I go away for a very long time.
Imagine that request. I just killed my whole family, but I know I'm going to go to
Can I
away
just
in
take
jail.
a break?
But can I travel the world first? Just so I can see it all, and then I swear I will turn myself in. I will
But
come
where
back.
are you going to get that money?
Yeah, but like I'm going to let you travel the world. Like you're going to take off to another country.
Yeah.
Like you just murdered 5 people.
Again, this shows mentally where he's at.
Yeah, the maturity level.
So obviously the request was immediately denied. Seth Privacky pleaded no contest to 5 counts of first-degree murder and received a mandatory sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. During the sentencing, Judge James Graves Jr. told him, "The entire community stands shocked at your actions. You turned what should have been a pleasant Thanksgiving weekend into your own killing field." His friend Stephen Wallace, initially charged with murder, saw his charges reduced to being an accessory. In November 1999, a jury acquitted him of all charges after his defense argued he only helped Seth because he was terrified for his own life. That I don't believe.
I don't believe that either. He had a very good defense team.
Yeah, that I don't believe for a hot second.
I don't believe that, but I do think like he wasn't part of it, but he could have stopped it. So I think he
100%.
should have gotten. I don't think he should have gotten let off, but definitely an accessory after the fact where he helped hide the bodies.
Yes, he definitely should have said something.
Yeah,
like, maybe himself couldn't have stopped it, but at least let parents know, let law enforcement know, let somebody, I don't know.
Hey, even if somebody's joking and they're not going to follow through, isn't it better that you
had said
something and maybe somebody can go talk to them and help them and try to figure out why they would say something like that?
Yes.
So, yeah.
So Seth began his life sentence at Kinross Correctional Facility in a medium security prison. Over the next decade, he racked up more than 30 misconducts for things like substance abuse, fighting, and having a weapon. On July 15th, 2010, nearly 12 years after the murder, Seth's story came to a violent end. At around 9:10 a.m., he and 2 other inmates serving life sentences overpowered the driver of a semi-truck at the loading dock. They crashed the truck through a double chain-link fence topped with razor wire, but the vehicle got tangled after about 100 yards. All 3 inmates jumped out and ran. Guards ordered them to stop. The other 2 inmates surrendered, but Seth ignored the warning and kept running. A corrections officer opened fire, and Seth was shot and killed. In a final chilling twist of fate, the 30-year-old died from a gunshot wound, the very same way he had killed all 5 of his victims. Although Seth confessed, the true psychological reasons for his actions are still a mystery. He blamed his father, his drug use, and even a mystery figure he called Mr. Kane in a letter, but none of it ever fully explained the cold, methodical murder of 5 people. The story of the Privacky family is a haunting reminder of the darkness that can hide just beneath a seemingly normal surface. It's a tragedy that wiped out 5 innocent lives and left behind a legacy of unanswered questions and a profound loss.
And this is, I'm going to let you know, like, just by his actions at 30 years old, first, the whole time he's in jail, he's fighting, he's causing problems, he's getting in trouble. He's not a good, a person who's, I'm sorry for what I did. It's terrible. I would never want to, I could take it back 100 times, but yet the behavior of badness is continuing. And then he goes and violently breaks out of prison, because it's not a quiet breakout, overtaking a guard, crashing through a gate. It wasn't like, we dug a tunnel.
It wasn't a Ted Bundy.
Yeah, and tried to get out quietly. So, yeah, this is somebody who wasn't going to reform. And maybe prison wasn't the perfect, we talked about this,
Yeah.
He obviously had mental problems and he needed more than just prison.
Yes.
Our prison system needs some
help.
kind of, help. Like reformation, like somewhere where you're getting medical care along with, not just throwing them in a population of other killers and violent people, and then they're all there to fend for themselves. No one's going to get better that way.
Never.
Yeah, but this goes to, he was not sorry for what he did, and it just
I mean, he clearly needed help, and who knows if he was going through therapy in prison, if he was able to, I don't know, get any sort of help whatsoever, if he was on medication. Who knows? It doesn't sound like it. He was clearly served time before something like this happened, and it sounds like up until the time he passed, he was in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. He was not a model prisoner,
No.
So yeah, but it's a really, really sad story for these 5 victims. I mean, April Boss, she's the girlfriend. She didn't even live with the family. She didn't even gang up on him. Nothing.
She
just was at the wrong place at the wrong time. And it's so sad that all these 5 people lost their lives. I mean, this is a teacher who was, the father who was a teacher who was admired by all these people, but not his own children. I mean, not his own son, because the other son admired him.
Right.
So, yeah, it was definitely, we always say, like, 2 kids can be brought up in the same exact home, the same exact way, but it's not necessarily the environment. I mean, it could be mental. It could be, something going
definitely.
On so
definitely.
Yeah,
and it makes you really wonder why these things happen. It makes me question a lot. Stories like this make me question everything.
Yeah.
Like, just why?
And how lucky we are.
Why do things like this happen?
So,
to people, to good people. Like, it
Absolutely.
just, I don't know. But we would love to hear your thoughts and your comments. Please comment below. If you enjoyed our story, please make sure and like it. Share it with a friend.
Subscribe.
Make sure
it
you're
doesn't
subscribed.
cost anything.
That's right.
Yeah.
Make sure you check us out on all podcast platforms. Also, if you're not a YouTube person, we do have a podcast as well. And I guess that's it for this week.
And we have a Patreon account as well.
We do.
For as little as $2. You can
$3.
$3. You can become a member.
I know we said last week I was going to do $2. Patreon does not let me do $2. $3 is the cheapest we can go.
Okay. And we got $3.
So we have $3,
so we got
a $5, a $10,
$5. You
a
want
$20.
$5. Anybody for a 10, 10, 10, 10, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Do I hear 20? Yep. There you go.
And we did announce last week, and I did change it on our Patreon. We have a $3, $5, $10, and $20. All of our members get the same exact thing. So if you're gracious enough to do the $20, if you can only do $3, we appreciate anything, and you will get all the same content.
Yes.
And that is just like we explained last week. It's it has nothing to do with true crime. It's just us talking about different things, but you'll get a weekly episode of that every week. So if you're interested in that, patreon.com/56madness. And we appreciate all of you guys, and we will see you next week.
Bye.